Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussion on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, including Steven Universe, Gravity Falls, and Rick and Morty. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Yo.
Today, Delaney and I will be discussing the latest episode of Gravity Falls, Dungeons, and More Dungeons. It aired just 10 minutes ago on Disney XD. I'm glad we got a Gravity Falls episode not after another 3-month wait. This time only a reasonable 3 weeks, I guess.
Define reasonable.
Not really reasonable, that's okay. Another 3 weeks until the next one, August 24th. Spoilers for this episode and all of Gravity Falls contained within, but let's get right into it. Delaney, what did you think of Dungeons, and More Dungeons?
Such a good episode. I felt completely pandered to. It was great. Like, this is everything I could possibly want in an episode. My family, we're a big Dungeons and Dragons family, so this is, and my entire family watched, which was kind of rare, but it was really good. And it's just great. The jokes, this is such a good parody of Dungeons and Dragons, and Dungeons, and More Dungeons was not only the name of the episode, but the name of an actual board game, which I really appreciated. Just fabulous episode.
Yeah,
and
I assumed they were actually going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons, but I was a little. It took them a while to get there.
I didn't think they were actually going to play Dungeons. I don't know what I expected to happen mainly because of the trailer I had seen of them LARPing, or what was it called? Was it florping? Clorking?
Clorping.
Clorping.
Yeah. Clorping.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
I mean, they were LARPing, and it's just great. And yeah. I expected that to be just a little gag in the episode. I didn't expect it to be the plot of the episode.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Stellar. And we actually have for the plot. Awesome. Yeah, just quality all around.
Yeah. Further, by the way, before we move on, I apologize for any background noise or audio problems in this one. I'm out of town recording from a different location, so you may hear. If it's your first time listening, this is not up to our typical audio standard. Anyway, I also very much enjoyed this episode.
Dylan on the move.
Podcasting from vacation. That's the dedication that we have. I very much also felt pandered to for this episode, but it was in a good way. It's I don't know. To a certain extent, there's an element of this. Every joke the show makes kind of is expected at this point, because we know the shtick with Gravity Falls at this point. There's a lot of self-referential stuff. There's a lot of what thing it was making fun of. But come on, obviously, I'm gonna love an episode where Weird Al Yankovic voices a fake wizard from a fake Dungeons and Dragons. Obviously, that's gonna be great.
Duh.
So I'm not sure. I don't know. We're not a ton to talk about. I mean, I think this was perfect for where we are right now in the story. This is I don't know, talking about Avatar, I always refer to the Nightmares and Daydreams episode, which is right before the big mid-season finale. This is the reverse Nightmares and Daydreams, in that we're getting this filler episode right after the big mid-season episode. And I think it's perfect because it's great in establishing Ford and Dipper's dynamic, but also just having a really more typical Gravity Falls episode after kind of the intense one we had, I would say last week, but it was really 3 weeks ago. So
yeah, more Monster of the Week.
Yeah, more Monster of the Week episode. And it was even more humorous than normal, I would say. But in a very...
I was laughing the entire time.
Yeah, I was a big fan of this. Maybe one of my favorites of all of Gravity Falls, even though there was a certain element of none of the jokes felt super original. They all felt like what I would have expected at each juncture of the plot.
Well, it's with any plot, Dungeons and Dragons it gets made fun of in every show. It's just what happens. So there's a lot of jokes to expect, and it's this the usual stuff. But I mean, I thought it was still funny, and
yeah, Community did it,
and also just Mabel.
Yeah, Community did 2 Dungeons and Dragons episode, and this is more traditional, straight making fun of than theirs, where I would say. But I don't know. I guess my point is compare this to the Rick and Morty episode that aired last night. That we podcasted on. I would say the Ray, the fake video game, that was incredibly funny and unexpected.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not an incredibly novel concept, that joke, but it's just so, I was so in there during that. But compared to, I didn't feel that way about any of the jokes here. But it doesn't mean they weren't good. It just means it was maybe a little too archetypal or whatever, the humor. Anyway,
it was just. I mean, it was very typical.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, it was still a very good episode, maybe even great.
Yeah.
So let's get into a little bit. I don't know. I just have this very long outline because there's just so many gags in the episode
So
that I felt the need to write everything down. I guess of note, plot wise, the Mystery Shack is now closed for repairs. It says, which goes along with what they talked about at the end of 3 weeks ago. That Ford said shut down this nonsense or whatever, and he's going to be in the basement. Ford comes out with an octopus. It's weird because the show needs to. This first act is the show trying to establish this new dynamic with Ford in the picture. So he comes out with this octopus. Don't let it taste human flesh.
Which doesn't get revisited.
Well, the octopus is there again, but it actually does. Yeah, that one is a little unexpected. I expected the octopus to do something.
Yeah, like the entire, which I guess maybe that was like a cool thing about this episode was like I kept expecting like something awful with the octopus to happen, and no, we just have a magical board game.
Yeah. Ford says to Dipper, "On the dark, weird road I travel, you cannot follow."
Who says that? Who talks like that?
Ford talks like that.
So
Stan tells them to stay away from Ford. There's the Duck-tective season finale. I'm glad Duck-tective is back.
Yes.
And we get a great "Why isn't he quacking?" from Mabel to get into the credits. great line, yeah. So I talked about this last Gravity Falls podcast. I'm a fan of the full credits. We get another full credits here.
Yes.
I thought I was a little bit wondering if we would get Ford in the credits because these credits have been the same since episode 1. I was wondering, but I'm fine with it being okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that Act 1 was very interesting or the pre-credits sequence, because it's just them trying to establish this new dynamic. So like compared to the rest of the show, that was pretty tame and typical, but they needed this type of establishing, shot to get back into it.
And just great, oh, I just love Lazy Tuesday. Oh, she ate without using her hands, and then randomly the other Grunkle just busts in with the octopus. Like, good, just great.
Just great.
Just great. It's just such a like this episode is so predictable, but I just loved every minute of it. Like,
yeah,
like
I agree.
Like that line was so, like. Because they're like, yeah, Lazy Tuesday, no weird, whatever. And then, of course, like, immediately after he busts through the, like, duh.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I maybe it seemed like I was negative in the beginning. Very positive on this episode, as we'll get into. As I just recount the countless incredible jokes. So, interestingly, we have Mabel writing to their mom and dad.
I missed a little bit of it, because I was out of the room. Like, the beginning.
Why would you leave the room?
Listen,
what? Please tell me.
It was on commercial, and I had to go to the bathroom. Jeez, Dylan.
Look, you're not allowed to leave the room.
I just drank a whole cheerwine. I had to go to the bathroom. I'm sorry.
I'm jealous of the cheerwine, and you got the cheerwine, and you missed part of the episode. That's like double negative points, because I'm already jealous of you from the cheerwine.
Points.
So you're going to have to...
I'll try and tone it down a little bit next time.
You're gonna just get a size smaller on the cheerwine.
Oh my god, it's like a 12-ounce can. What do you want me to drink out of like a medicine?
Not the huge cheerwine I get from Cookout. Not that one.
No, I don't Cookout.
You should have went to Cookout. That would have made this girl. Okay,
random to Cookout.
Okay, concluding that incredibly southern discussion. Let's talk about. So yeah, the Mabel's writing to their mom and dad. I feel like they've done this before, but it's been like a while since. Have we had Mabel writing to them?
I don't really remember her writing.
I don't remember at all. Yeah.
They mentioned their parents. Well, no, I think the only mention of their parents has been when Stan called them. That's the only thing I recall. I don't remember Mabel writing to them.
I mean, the parents have come up probably multiple times, but yeah, I guess I don't know if they were writing. This is again a very weird thing because it's like we haven't gotten this just high level, not high level in that it's like complicated, but high or maybe low level in just the premise of the show. Just Mabel writing to their parents, just very very strange. This is very much a reset episode. Lazy Susan is being interviewed on the news or something, and she's like, "Am I right? Am I right?" That was great. She's doing something about pineapple upside down cake, right? And now it's actually upside down. Now they're covering the gravity effects on the town. The mayor, have we talked to the mayor before? I think we have.
Yes.
I didn't have time to. enough time to write down his name, but it was something really long. And they're rebuilding the town after the anomalies. Mabel says 2 grunkles for the price of 1.
So good.
And then we get
her art in her letters.
Oh yeah, her Mabel's art. We got Mabel art last time when Ford was reading off the thing after the memory wipe. Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, Mabel's art's always great. And then we get into the main plot of the episode: D and dungeons, and more dungeons. D and more D. The rules. Mabel says it's homework the game.
So I cracked up for like solid 2 minutes. Homework
the game. But Seuss is not about that. He is a Clorper, FC, I think, LORP. This, of course, is a parody of LARPing, the actual real-life thing where you live-action roleplay. I have friends that LARP, and I am a fan of making fun of it here. But so okay, just before we go any farther, what's your background on Dungeons and Dragons?
I've played Dungeons and Dragons my entire family, when my parents were dating in high school, like my mom would hang out with my dad in his friend's basement, and like they would play Dungeons and Dragons. My mom would just like sit there and chill. Like my entire family is very knowledgeable in Dungeons and Dragons. It's a very and my dad has literally all of the books, and we've actually never completed a game of Dungeons and Dragons because it takes 2 years to make a character. But
well, it's not really a game. Like, you can't just one does not just game one game of Dungeons.
No, and it also doesn't come in a box. Like, it's not a board game.
It's very complicated, yeah. But yeah, I have done one D&D quest, one sophomore year of college, and it was all semester long, and it never even ended, obviously.
Yeah, no.
But so I'm not the most knowledgeable of Dungeons and Dragons, but we're both in the target for this parody, I would say, being very familiar with it.
I mean, the rules great, and also they also do hit on it's not really specific jokes, really. You have the ridiculously sided die, which of course the infinity die is just incredible.
I think they're pretty accurate with the D&D rules that they're parodying here.
No, they definitely are.
There's one point when I was a little questioning things. At the end, the whole concept of just making everything up, I think, is not accurate. There's rule books where you have to get all your spells and stuff from. But that was the only thing, though. I think other than that, it was fine.
I mean, technically, you do kind of make everything up. But
you do, yeah. It's that fit with the theme of the game, because it's not a concrete board game. It's more of everything's a mental thing.
Well, they were I feel like they were focusing more on the dungeon master aspect of it, but they just never talked about it, which is also funny because I only need 2 people to play. How do you?
No, we can't do that.
You can't really
who's the DM, bro? That's my question.
And you can't. And then it's what's the point of playing? Well, I mean, obviously, Ford was the dungeon master, but
yeah, obviously.
And then of course they looked like they were trading off because Dipper was because she was you've been talking dork words for the past hour, whatever, and he's I'm gonna really stump him with this dungeon. And it's what are y'all doing? Switching back and forth? What? It's not it's a really sad way to play Dungeons and Dragons. It's when my brother used to play board games by himself because I wouldn't play with him. That's the equivalent of what's going on here, and It's really sad.
We're just learning everything about the Stovall family here.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's but back to the Clorping. The LARPing, Seuss. First of all, I totally buy Seuss being a LARPer.
It's immediately. No, everyone who was involved in the LARPing, my brother was oh my god, of course it's him. Yeah. Oh my god, and he was I think his name's Toby.
Toby determined in the
and he's
cops,
oh my god, the cops. Yeah. We just immediately bought it. My brother just got caught up, and it's he immediately bought it. It's great.
Yeah, we get a fireball. I feel like the last parody of LARPing I saw also had that. I think Community's LARPing parody also had just repeating the same thing over and over, that's totally what you should do when you're parodying LARPing.
Yes.
And I also bought them, and Toby is a fortress. Or no, not Toby. The
cop.
The tall cop, yeah.
Oh my god, the fortress.
I don't remember the
fortress. He's the tree in every school play.
He's the tree in every school play, yeah.
Oh,
Stan says, "Oh, of course, nerds have a game with charisma as a superpower," which is totally accurate.
That was so good.
And then he says, "Elvin."
I think that might be the best joke aside from.
Yeah, that might have been. That's up there for one of the best ones. Yeah. Elvin buttresses, and then Mabel's say it again. Buttresses.
Oh, also the hot elf.
The hot elf. We will get back to the hot elf. That was one really good one that they set up and then paid off. The hot elf.
Such a good elf parody. It's so good.
Dipper gets obsessed with it, but then has no one to play with. He says, maybe I should start obsessing over Wendy again. The first of 1,000 self-referential jokes in this.
Yes.
Yeah, in this episode. Then Dipper falls into the basement with the 38-sided die, which is...
Okay, he fell for like 20 minutes.
The 38-sided die, by the way, not too sensical, but that's okay. I don't know. Would it make sense? I haven't done the math.
I mean, you can have like, I think there is like a weird 64-sided die upstairs or something.
But for the record, D&D's played with 20-sided die. That's like, and there's like 8-sided die, and if you're not familiar with die other than 6-sided, play D&D and you'll experience all of them.
Your world will change.
Yeah. Then Ford finds him with the thing, and he's like, "OMG, nerdgasm!" And if it's Ford's favorite game in the multiverse.
So that means he went out, and not only so he's been lost. Of course, he went around and played board games.
Well, this joke is great because it has two sides to it. Because I'm not sure if D&D has a multiverse or not. I think it does. Like Wizard of the Coast, who makes D&D's other game, which I'm Magic the Gathering, which I'm a huge player of, has a multiverse. So I think D&D might also have a multiverse, but I'm not 100% into the D&D lore. But
the thing with D&D is that there's so many different versions of D&D, and you can literally do whatever you want with D&D. Yeah, so there's probably multiverse.
Well, but the backstory of it and everything. But so it's it's a joke about him being a nerd about D&D, but also he has been out into the multiverse.
So good.
So that was a great one. He says, "We must stop everything I've been doing and play." So there you go.
And again, the octopus is
the octopus is there, yeah.
And then it tastes his flesh, and
does it?
It sticks to his face. I'm assuming that it tastes human flesh.
And then nothing happens.
Yeah, and I'm just okay. I was really expecting I was expecting him to freak out, and then no, he just...
Yeah.
Maybe the only letdown of the episode.
No, that was a good letdown. I think that was perfect. Act 3, Mabel has made mouth ramps with which to watch Duck Detective for food.
I want to invite Mabel to all of my events so she can make me these ridiculous things. I want a mouth ramp. So great.
Mouth ramps, please. Yeah. In this
sweater.
I don't keep track of Mabel's sweaters. What was Mabel's sweater today?
Well, she had a weird purple one that just had globs on it, but then she put on the Duck Detective sweater. And I was like, yes, there's merch for Duck Detective.
Merch for Duck Detective, yeah. So we learned more details of DD and Morty. Princess Unattainable, and wait, I feel like it was more than. I feel like that's not her name. I'm not sure. And Probabilitor the Annoying, who we'll get more of. Great name. We got the Diggity Dungeons and all that in the 90s when they were trying to be cool, which was great.
It's also really funny because, typically in, anything that was making fun of Dungeons & Dragons, that would have been the 80s flashback, but no, since it's Gravity Falls and we're right now, it has to be the 90s flashback.
Yeah, it does make sense, yeah.
My parents were slightly appalled.
Dipper asks what Ford's been doing, and they're like, no, I guess right now, I'm not sure. We get it later, though. We get payoff at the end. The infinity-sided die that he got in the multiverse, I guess. If multiverse is a canon term for Gravity Falls, that'll be great, but I'm pretty sure it's not. In the dice bag, it has infinite outcomes. You could, blah, 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 or you could roll an 8, which is great.
You could roll an 8.
Roll an 8. And then, I don't know,
It's in this really cheap plastic case.
It's in a cheap plastic case, yeah, great. I like how he goes into other dimensions and they have dice there too. I don't think that makes sense. If there were going to be other dimensions or other worlds, I don't think they would have dice.
That's what you take issue with? My issue is that he went and did all these cool things, and he's such a nerd. He comes back with a stupid die. Okay, are you serious?
Okay, we have two separate issues. Dipper stays up all night making a dungeon. Now, this is perfect. This is to me, this is how you should parody D&D. Because people just spent all day making dungeons. Shout out to my college friend James, who just for there's a several month period where he was just constantly building dungeons. That's what he was doing, and people just keep doing this. So Dipper doing it is great. I don't know.
There is the game lasts max a few hours, but the time it takes to create the game.
Well, if you have a quest, you could have individual games, I guess, every session. But it just takes a while to make the dungeon for the specific session or whatever.
Also, the graph paper, so great.
Yeah, I feel like graph paper is a callback. Did they do graph paper in a previous episode? I think so. I don't remember though.
I don't know, but
yeah, that's
great.
a constant recurring theme of me not remembering Gravity Falls plotlines because it's been
It happens.
3 years and the episodes are spread out over weeks. Grenda comes over for Duck Detective, and they say that Duck Detective has a big mystery element and humor that goes over kids' heads. I'm not sure I got the last part of that quote right.
Yes, I think we can relate to.
But very obviously a self-referential Gravity Falls line. Yeah.
So great.
Yeah. Stan and Ford fight over use of the living room. Ford says that I don't remember the context of this, but he says something about dimension 46 apostrophe backslash.
What? I have no
Dimension 46 apostrophe backslash. Come on.
I don't.
He very clearly says it in the episode.
I
think he's talking about. He makes some line about him being in something from that dimension. Yeah. Anyway, great. Dimension. I don't.
46 backslash.
I think that's the canon naming scheme for different dimensions now. It's number, symbol. So I would get on that Gravity Falls wiki and stuff like that. You know.
Can we please have like dimension like $12 hashtag or something?
Dimension hashtag. I want to mention hashtag. Yeah.
Yes.
But then the actual plot of the episode finally, Probabilitor comes to life. He's voiced by Weird Al Yankovic. Did you notice that? Did you know that beforehand? I didn't. I only knew because Alex Hirsch tweeted it.
I knew because of I don't know if it was the tweet or if it was a trailer or something. Like I knew that was happening.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't necessarily. I mean, obviously the new character is going to be voiced by the guest voice, but I wouldn't have recognized it right away. He needs to eat brains to gain intelligence, and he takes them to the forest. I'm very pleased with Probabilitor coming to life plot. I think that was a good choice. Maybe they based everything around that. I'm not sure.
He's such a Kim Possible villain. There's literally a Kim Possible villain. He's like about probability. That's what he is, and I'm pretty sure this is the same character.
I wonder if they're inspired by Kim Possible, but it also just makes sense with the elements they're parodying, you know.
They were making fun of math the entire time.
They're making fun of math.
Fun of math. I don't even know. Is that even like an act? Can you even make fun of math?
No, it's impossible. Yes, obviously you can make fun of math, but I don't know. Stan and Mabel have to go on. Wow, you're rude. Have to go on an epic wizard quest, which Mabel I think is excited about. They take their and Grenda. She's there too. I forgot about that. Where is who's the other
Candy.
one? Candy. Where's Candy?
My brother was also concerned about where Candy was.
Candy is everyone's favorite. Come on, how does Candy get left out of? Who does Candy have if not Mabel and Grenda? Come on.
I mean, I imagine. I don't think Candy likes Duck Detective. Like, she probably thinks it's like beneath her, and was probably like doing something else.
Wait, that could have been a thing. They might have because they brought up Duck Detective before. That could have been a thing.
I don't think Candy likes Duck Detective, but I could be.
If they establish that, then props.
Or she's out there doing something really weird because Candy's like terrifying. Like I don't want to mess with Candy. Like she does.
She's obviously the most terrifying. Yes. Even though in this episode Grenda rips a chair out of them.
She just makes naturally Stan goes for his bat, and then I mean Mabel. There was no telling what Mabel was going to grab. Rake, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then she just picks up the chair. At first, I thought her weapon was going to be like the cans and stuff under the chair, but no, she just walks out with the chair.
It's pretty wonderful. Yeah, Grenda always on point.
And the fact that the chair actually came into play, I'm just. The follow through with that was just brilliant. Yeah.
Back to the forest. Contender for line of the episode: Hot elf, ready the brain cooking pot.
There's a really good chance it's like legitimately in World of Warcraft. Like that might be something that happens.
Brain cooking pot, yeah. Because this line is great because we don't know Hot Elf is actually there. I think maybe we saw him come to life.
We saw I knew there was an elf because I have elf senses and I just knew there was an elf in the corner. Like I saw the elf. I knew it was
senses going off this episode. Yeah.
Yes.
Hot elf, ready the brain cooking pot. Him
it's also literally a blood elf. That's what
calling him Hot Elf does not make sense.
It does. That's literally what it is. Like it is elf.
Dipper and
it's probably its race. Hot elf.
Stan and Mabel are traveling the forest, and Stan can tell they're getting closer because the fairy bites, and then the fairy says, "Hey, look, listen." Okay, I don't know if we're going overboard with the references here, but this is the one when I may have thought that. But it's obviously we're going to pander to Zelda and everything now, so that's good too. Grenda chairs the guard.
She just
Chairs, yeah.
No, that's my favorite. They're like, you have to go on 7 quests. She's like, no. That was a Monty Python moment. She just like slammed.
Yeah, that was a Monty Python moment. Yeah, and Probabilitor is making some sort of speech, and then he says, Mabel says, "Your butt," and then he says, "What? My butt isn't part of this particular equation." Which is one of my favorite lines too. And then he says, "How did you get past my one guard?"
No, that's my favorite. That's one of my. That's like such a good line.
But then they have to make the game come to life and play Stan
Jumanji
versus Probability or Jumanji, yeah. And he turns Elf and Ford, I think, into Elf and Ford, Dipper and Ford into elves.
Yes.
One.
Be different.
I am very worried of what the fandom's going to do, or certain parts of the fandom with Elf Dipper, but we don't have to worry about that. We can just ignore it.
We don't need to talk about that.
I'm very worried. Please don't make my worries come to fruition here.
Please.
Especially because he's like, I have nothing under the thing.
Yeah, I know. I don't. I'm really afraid now.
I was like, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
This is gonna be bad.
Yeah, Stan and Probability are facing off. And so this is what we're talking about before with the they have to make up their attacks and stuff, which is not my experience with D&D, because you have set stuff. You can only use set spells and stuff you learn as you level up and stuff like that. But I think
you're literally reading the book while you play.
Yeah, you are, definitely. And I think it makes sense, though, with the imagination theme of D&D, because that definitely is... D&D, I mean, that's the cool part of D&D. It's like, it's all in your head, really. And it's just this epic quest that... There's not really a board or anything like that, like you have to make a dungeon... the Dungeon Master does, but it's really all just imagination. And Mabel tells Stan to make something up. It's like lying, which is perfect, like yeah. So things that are made up. Ogre-nado. Perfect. And wait, Ogre-nado, it's like what it sounds like, right? Is that what they say about it?
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Hot flame sword.
Hot flame sword, that's later.
Hot flamey sword, excuse me.
Centaur tar, which is a
oh my god
centaur bottom with another centaur on his head. Which
and at first I was like, there is no logic to this. Mabel, what's wrong with you? But then it flipped and I almost died.
I think that's my favorite thing. They have centaur tar. Oh my goodness.
Oh my god, I got really, when they were like, you can just make everything up, like I got so excited because Mabel was there. Like I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be incredible, and it was.
It was incredible, yeah.
So
Mabel's
excited.
time to shine. And of course, the Impossibeast from the controversial 1991-1992 edition.
So great.
Which is actually like referenced. There is, I forget, a certain rules update to D&D everyone hated. So we're kind of referencing that, I think, with this, which is great.
And there are like this is a thing. Like there are, and there's
there's different versions, of the rules, and so it makes sense. Stan has to roll exactly a 38 to beat it, and he's a world-class gambler, so he does, but it turns out the dice has gum on the bottom at the end. Very Stan-like, yeah.
Yes.
So once they roll that, they have death muffins to kill the Impossibeast.
So good.
And they also says, and the game is over, Excelsi, whatever. Hot
also, typical Grinda was attached to the hot elf.
Oh, she was, yes, that's great. Come on, Grinda. Mabel was so excited about Hot Elf. What you doing, Grinda?
Oh my god.
But they finish in time for the Duck-tective second showing. Which is
really funny, like, that's so typical Encore.
Encore. Who shot Duck-tective? Oh, it's his twin brother, who I think has an Alex Hirsch beard. I think that's what they're going for, the creator.
Yes.
And they're like, that's the twist? And Sue says, I predicted that a year ago. Just the 10th self-referential line of... perfect in that episode.
That's what I waited a whole season for?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But we actually get plot at the end. Ford dismantled the portal, and he contained an interdimensional rift. Wonder if that will come into play, right? Yeah. But
I wonder if there's a particular, polygon who might
who might be
through.
Who might come through that rift, yeah. But I feel like they should tell Ford about Cypher or Bill Cypher. That seems like something they should do.
That's kind of important.
Seems like something they should do. But anyway,
Maybe.
maybe now that Ford trusts Dipper with this secret, which the character development of the episode, So that was a big moment. And
also, I have a lot of enemies. Okay, it's great, awesome.
Great.
Who knows what's coming through?
That's great. More. I wonder if we'll get a mini boss before Bill Cipher. If Cipher is
Mini boss.
if he is the main boss, I'm not sure. I'm less convinced now that the show is ending in 8 episodes. But after we got this breather episode, but it's also the Stan Churian candidate. The name of the next episode doesn't sound incredibly plot intensive. So maybe we're gonna get a full season 3. That'd be great.
Yes.
That'd be another 3 years.
3 years.
3 more years of Gravity Falls. 1 more season. There you go.
Yes.
And then in the stinger, Seuss is LARPing again, in which the tall cop makes this whole speech about how they should be doing something else or something like that, like living life.
Be meaningful, we have to grow as people.
And then the other cop says, "Fortresses can't speak, darling."
So great.
Okay. Does this confirm the ship of the 2 cops?
They're married, as far as I'm concerned.
Is this confirmed? I think so, because he calls him darling.
Darling.
And it wasn't sarcastic,
No, and they're so in love. It's... the things they say to each other.
I think it's confirmed. Fortresses can't speak. I'm a fortress.
Fortresses can't speak. I'm a fortress.
I'm a fortress.
His character is just...
Okay, went through that pretty quick. I'm actually pretty happy with how we went through that, because I always don't like just running through every element of the episode, but that works. What did we miss, Delaney? I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, I think...
almost every joke, probably.
Pretty much.
Overall, thumbs up?
Yeah, oh my god, both thumbs up.
Is this better than A Tale of Two Stands?
I feel like this is kind of like comparing... Granted, I think we've talked about things like this before, that you can't necessarily say that an episode is better than another because of plot or because of humor or something, but I can't really compare the 2 episodes because they're just very different.
Very different, yeah.
I got very different things from each of those episodes. I enjoy A Tale of Two Stands for different reasons than I enjoy this episode. This episode is probably in my top 5, 10, because this episode is just awesome, and I felt this episode was completely targeted at me. Yeah, totally, me too. Yeah, I think that I will say it's better than A Tale of Two Stands. I'm not 100% satisfied with that one, even though it was great. This one I'm also not 100% satisfied because it felt a little predictable at times, but it was wonderful, and I'll watch it probably 10 more times. It's that type of episode. It's just maybe the best one. I don't know, best one in season 2. There's so many good ones in season 2. Yeah, that's a little hard. Into the bunker. Northwest. Which aired after this episode tonight. Oh, really? Northwest. They're doing a Gravity Falls marathon. Yeah, Northwest Mansion Mystery is also gotta get that Dipsifica going. Yes. Where's Pacifica? Gotta get that Dipsifica. No. Where is Waddles? That's a good question. That has to be another plot. They have to go break into a government facility and save Waddles. Save Waddles. The last time we saw Waddles was that guy busting through the window, who tackled Waddles. I am totally in favor of a save Waddles plot. More Waddles, the better. Also, Pacifica needs to come. Also, we need more Wendy. Yes. Yeah, come on. Where's Wendy? Dipper just referenced her once. We have Wendy referenced in the last episodes, but not appearing, except in the stinger of the last one. Yes. Needs more Wendy. Yeah. Overall, very happy with this. This is a 9.5 out of 10 or whatever. Very solid. Very A+ humor. Maybe the funniest episode of Gravity Falls. Maybe. Yes. Could be. Yeah. So I don't know. This last week's was so, or not last. 3 weeks ago was so different. This is reunited and sparked my typical love of. My love of the typical Gravity Falls episode, So I'm way looking forward to the rest of the season. We have another episode in August. That's great. We'll be talking about the Stan Churian candidate on August. It is August. On August 24th. Yeah, another episode in August. Woo! Very excited. Another one. I said another one. Another one. Yeah, so, okay. Anyway, I'm Dylan Hysen. That's Delaney Stovall. You can find more about us at overlyanimated.com. Regular coverage of every Gravity Falls episode. Maybe we'll have a discussion in between now and then. I don't know if there's much to discuss, though. Yeah. Maybe we can speculate on the portal. Have another debate about how they work. Yeah. You can overlyanimated.com. You can support us at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Huge thanks to our current
patrons Nate, Cordell, Shayna, Beatrice, and Mitch, Nathan Fillion, Cordell University, Hannah, Beatrix Lestrange, and Fever Mitch. Coming soon, the Patreon exclusive July podcast, but only those 5 people will get to see it, so that's too bad. But
sorry,
but you should, if you contribute to the Patreon now, you'll get to listen. You'll have to be there for that. We were gonna discuss Steven Universe on Thursday, but Cartoon Network pulled it for all of August. We might have a Cartoon Network hate podcast later this week instead.
Please,
that might be what we do. I'm not sure yet. Anyway, oops. My beer almost fell over.
BT Dubs, guess who suggested it? It was me.
It was Delaney. Anyway, that's all. I've been podcasting today from Dewey Beach, Delaware, / aka the Rehoboth Dewey Beach area, aka Beach City.
I was going to say Beach City.
I've been going to Dewey / Rehoboth for every year since I've been born. Since before I even knew about Steven Universe. A few days ago, no gems. A few days ago, I visited Funland as usual, which is a real place, very obviously a real place that's based off of Rehoboth. And I played skee ball at Funland, so there you go. And yeah, I think that's it. Any parting thoughts on anything, Delaney?
Hashtag Save Waddles 2K15.
Hashtag Save Waddles 2K15 at Overly Animated Podcast. Hashtag Save Waddles 2K15. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.